You guys look like... What do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
Get those birds! Birds!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What? Are you kidding? We got some family here. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
You are listening to the In the Mouth of Dorkness podcast. Here are Brad, Lisa, Brian, and Darren.
Welcome to another edition of the It Modcast podcast. Joining us is Brian Young.
God, I love being a turtle!
The Turtle Dork.
I could barely lift my right arm. I did so many.
Ugh. And also joining us is Lisa Gullickson.
Quick, suck it before the venom reaches my heart.
Wife Dork.
My mother says you have the best posture of anyone she knows.
Oh, thank you. And also joining us is Brad Gullickson.
And for gosh sake, watch your language.
That's not going away anytime soon.
Mouth Dork.
It stinks!
And I'm your host, Darren Smith.
Warm. Warmer. Disco.
The Disco Dork. You got to be brave before you can be good. And welcome to the It Modcast podcast. Yay!
Yay! Here we are.
No, I literally can't lift my arm.
Man.
Because you did so many.
I saw your gym check-in on Facebook.
I've been trying to get back, and I think I overdid it a couple days ago.
A little scoliosis right
there?
Well, now that the Comic-Con badges have arrived, it's getting real. I ate a salad today.
You ate 2 salads today.
I ate 2 salads
gotta
today.
get
That
ready.
just makes me
Gotta
sound
get ready
like
for
a
that
glutton.
West Coast sun.
Yeah.
Dude, badges are here, except for Darren's, because
Ain't that
they're
a
never coming.
Don't say that.
But at least Brian, Lisa, and me are coming.
At least Brian's came because it did not arrive last time, and
I know.
then we stood in line with him.
This is just the circle of life.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's like when we do the whole badge process, like one person gets in, and the next year somebody doesn't, and same thing with the delivery of the badges.
I never thought it would be Darren's turn.
It's okay.
I know, right?
Hey, we are all going. That's the important thing.
Exactly.
We're not having one of those sad years.
And I finally got my plane ticket. It was rough to hit that button to debit that money out, but I got it.
So how many more weeks?
4.
Yeah, 4.
It's a month.
Yeah,
It's a month
Oh,
away.
shucks. All right. So while we anticipate that, Brian, do you want to share your weekend dork? How was your weekend dork?
Interesting. Very interesting. I was actually going to talk about some of the Marvel Netflix shows that I watched.
So then you watch them and you're like, nah.
Well, I know I'm going to just highlight one thing, but I will speak to on those in a bit. Excuse me, but I want to talk about a film that Darren has been requesting me to watch for a while. And I said, you know what? Haven't really been watching a lot of movies on Netflix. Let me go ahead and check this out. That is John Woo's Manhunt.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk about that a little bit.
Boy.
The movie's terrible.
Oh.
I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I don't even know really what to say about the actual film itself. It just feels like a jumbled mess. First of all, watching this movie, it's basically just a retread of the plot of The Fugitive. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, man, this is literally The Fugitive beat for beat. And then, of course, we get a lot of John Woo's signature visual styles that we get, but it's never done with...
With birds? Are you going to say birds?
Well, it's done with birds.
Oh,
but
shit.
His former films, like, what do you look at some of his former Hong Kong films, like The Killer, Hard Boiled, even some of his American films, like Face Off. Say what you will about him, but for me personally, when you see a lot of his signature traits in these movies, like birds, to me, it feels like it's done with a purpose. Here, it just feels like it's being done just to be done. And I don't know, like the doves, the slow motion, the crossfades, and it just I mean, this movie is overly it's poorly acted, it's poorly directed, it's poorly edited. I mean, I got 20 minutes into this film and I text Darren and I was just like, dude, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it through. Like I literally did not think I'd be able to make it through this film, but fortunately for the podcast, I did.
Yay.
Taking one for the team.
Yeah.
Again.
Definitely.
Darren had already done it.
I know.
He warned us.
Did you talk about this on the podcast?
Yes,
Oh,
he
you
did.
did? Yeah. I guess it's my turn. All right, then I'll spare the listeners all the details. But I actually want to speak a little bit more, not just of the film itself, because the film is bad. There are moments that John Woo does show a little bit of his brilliance. There is like an attack on a safe house that's like out in the farm somewhere. And there's like these two assassins, like these women assassins that you're introduced in the beginning of the film. And one of them, and just the way that he's able to kind of move the camera and the choreography of it, like he still shows glimpses that he's got it. Like he really does. But it's very far and few between, and it's not enough to really kind of salvage this film. But I want to talk a little bit about John Woo himself and just the downfall that we've seen as him as a director. I mean, I love John Woo. John Woo, to me, is one of the reasons that really got me into filmmaking, my love of film. Our friendship started of us bonding over The Killer 18 years ago. I mean, like,
would you say you were Mickey Mouse or Dumbo? Which one was I?
I can't remember. Did we ever say?
No, I'm just saying. Would you say which one? You supposed to say, Darren, you're Italian fat.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, so John Woo has been a huge part of my fandom, my love of film, and to see kind of this progression and now decline, as I think the turn started after after Mission Impossible 2. You know, we got into Wind Talkers, we got into Paycheck, and we got into
Wind Talkers.
Yeah, we got into those films. And I don't know, man. It's like this was a man that was once heralded by Quentin Tarantino as being the maestro of action cinema. And it seems like now he's just kind of become a parody of himself. He's become
like, I think that's a natural course for lots of filmmakers.
To quote what we were talking about, is it though?
Yeah.
Right.
Look at John Carpenter. Look at David Cronenberg. Look at heck, even Hitchcock, even Kurosawa. As they got later in life, their films never reached their apex.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't expect
that's the arc. That's the bell of the creative process.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's why Tarantino wants to go after 10. He's like, I don't want my paychecks and my manhunts.
I know, but I don't know. Seeing those glimpses in Manhunt, I feel like John Woo still has it in him if he gets a good script, if he gets the right team behind him. I don't know. I'm always going to have love for John Woo, and I'm always going to defend him just for what the cinema that he's given me when I was younger in the early 90s. I'm always going to defend him to some degree, but I can't help but to just acknowledge just how bad this particular movie is.
It's a bummer.
It's really, really disappointing.
I asked Darren this when he got done watching Manhunt. Are you excited about his Killer remake with Lupita Nyong'o?
Well, that's interesting because we talked about that a little bit too. It depends on the backing. If he has a studio behind him, if he has a really good script, he's got a great actress with Lupita Nyong'o. I love her. To see how he rounds out that cast, and again, like I said, I think he could do something special, and that is his own film that he is remaking. I'm intrigued by it. I'm not going to say I'm going to get excited, but I'm intrigued by it. So I guess with that being said, look out for my Letterboxd score because I'm going to, if you follow me on Letterboxd at the Turtle Dork, I'm going to write a review that I'm thinking about how I want to do this because I want to do something kind of elaborate and very poignant. Basically a Dear John letter.
Sounds like you're being hurt. Don't Dear John.
Don't give up on him.
I won't. I'll never give up.
Maybe it's just time to open the relationship.
Yeah.
Start seeing other directions.
Exactly. I won't give up on him, but I'll never let no one speak an ill word of him. But
Manhunt is John Woo's Twixt. Like you have Francis Ford Coppola who's done like some amazing cinema.
Watchable as all get out though.
Oh, okay.
It's very interesting.
Well, I mean, when you compare, like when you compare about like the highs, when you compare the highs to the lows, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah. So I want to touch on a little bit of Marvel Netflix just before I pass it on to Lisa. I'm sorry.
Oh, take your time.
But I finished Jessica Jones, and I do remember, Darren, you were talking about it, and I went into this film, this series, and I remember you were saying something about, okay, a lot of the peripheral characters like Malcolm and Trish and oh god, who's Carrie Ann Moss's character? Jerry,
yeah.
That they're a little bit more interesting, and they have more of an arc than Jessica Jones. I'm gonna push back a little bit on the Jessica Jones part. I do agree that a lot of the peripheral characters are really well fleshed out in this season, but I do think that Jessica Jones does have an interesting arc at the end of this film, especially, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but that whole storyline with her mother. And I think in that final episode, I think Kristen Ritter gives probably some of her best acting performance that I've seen in that series so far. But at least for me, it worked. I liked what I saw from her character, and I think it does. I want to see where her character goes, and I love that final shot in that last episode with her sitting down with her neighbor and her son. And I think that does open up to a little bit more character development if we were to get a season 3. So that's Jessica Jones, and I know Luke Cage started. I watched only season 1,
episode 1.
Episode 1. I'm sorry. I dug it. I thought that was kind of cheesy, but I just gotta say, people on social media, just give it a rest. Like, so many people are really. I think they're going in with their knives out for this show, and people are trashing it. I know some people have already binged the whole thing, so I can't speak to the whole series. But I've seen some tweets and some stuff online where people have just saw the first episode and they're just already just trashing. I'm like, give it some time. Like, I understand everybody when it gets their tweets out about it because this is the weekend it comes out.
I haven't tweeted about it, Brian, but I watched 30 minutes of it and I fell asleep, and I'm not going to watch it anymore.
Oh, okay.
When you say it was cheesy, like what do you mean?
There's some stuff I don't know, like the whole thing about there's an app, like his celebrity has really taken over Harlem, and like everybody wants to get a little piece of the pie. So now this is a Luke Cage app. Everybody's trying to record like a lot of his stuff that's going around. There's one part where he's being recorded and he dabs.
Oh,
yeah, but also that scene. I've seen the dab online. I've seen people commenting on the dab online.
Yeah.
But the scene that really just was like, oh, I don't even like the level of performance this extra is giving.
Okay.
Is the guy who rushes into the barbershop and before Luke Cage shows up because he's got his own camera and he wants to. He's like, oh, we found the barbershop.
That was,
here's where Luke Cage is. Oh my god! And then they kick him out.
Yeah.
But like,
that bothered me.
What is
too.
happening?
I saw that and I was like, come on, guys. I mean, and I really wanted to like this because I knew this first episode was directed by Lucy Liu, and I was like, "Oh, cool! Lucy Liu's directing. I want to see what she's going to do with this and whatnot." But it was just a little bit on the nose. But the highlight was, I think, Reg E. Carter. So rest in peace. There's a gravitas to his screen presence, and there's a nice scene between him and Luke Cage, and I want to see more of him throughout the series as I continue watching it. But I'm on board for now. We'll see. Like I said, one episode in, but we'll see.
If you tell me to, I'll start back up.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
My future is in your hands, sir.
It's a lot of pressure, man.
All right. Thanks, B. Wife Dork.
Yes.
How was your week in Dork?
I gotta admit, it had some bumps.
Uh-oh.
It had some bumps this week.
Meow. Cue a slide whistle.
That's not a slide whistle.
But it gets the effect out.
Okay, sure. Well, on Thursday, I was super excited. Brad and I had a road trip.
Oh.
I hit up the bank and I pulled out a whole bunch of cash because I was going to buy some shit. Was the plan.
Yes.
And Brad and I hopped in our Honda to go see the Monkees.
Yeah.
It's
in
the Dork
Philadelphia.
The Dorkmobile.
Yeah. So
it's got a Trek fish on it, guys.
It does.
Trekfish.
It does have a Trek fish on it. Don't stalk us. And so so we drove 4 hours through. We started early because the concert was at 8.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say the Monkees, it's literally just Mike and Mickey touring together. But now that is 2/3 of the surviving Monkees, so it only takes 2/3 majority to make it the Monkees. And I was super excited because I've never seen Mike play with another Monkee. I went to my first Monkees concert the Friday after Thanksgiving in 1998 with my whole fam. We had our own little road trip. We went to the Poconos, actually. And we saw them in like this kind of small venue. It was like the size of the Birchmere. It was like a super tiny venue. And me and my sister made fools of ourselves with how excited we were. But it was just Peter, Mickey, and Davy. And then we saw the Monkees again much, much later at the Wolf Trap, the outdoor venue, not too far from here. And again, it was Peter, Mickey, and Davy. Because Mike does not like to tour, and he especially does not like to tour with the other Monkees.
Oh, so they're not on good terms?
I guess not.
No.
I suppose not. Though they come together periodically,
Yeah.
you know, to do different kinds of things. But Mike is always the first to go like, no thanks.
Damn.
So later, you know, of course, Davy Jones passed away. And after he passed away, they did the 50-year anniversary tour. And Mike did the West Coast leg of it, but not the East Coast leg of it.
Damn.
So that time I saw them, it was just Mickey and Peter. And so I was...
And it was great.
And it was super great. It was at the Warner Theater. We got amazing seats. We were right behind the real money bags who paid extra money to do the meet and greet. So we got pretty sweet seats. And because I got them early, because I'm a dork. So, like I said, super excited. I had packed my Mike Nesmith hat, the blue one with the buttons. I had packed my Randy Skouskit tablecloth that I had bought as part of the merch for the 50th anniversary tour, and I was just super stoked. And then
we got in the car and we drove
and
for 4 hours.
And we drove.
In bumper to bumper traffic from DC 95 all the way to just the outskirts of Philadelphia.
How long was that trip supposed to be sans traffic?
On the way back, 3 hours.
3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not far. And we started at like 1:30.
Okay.
So we just started hitting rush hour at 8.
Okay. Oh.
So we just started hitting rush hour traffic, you know, at the end of our trip. So we finally arrived. We were literally pulling in to the parking lot of the Keswick Theater, which is in Glenside, Pennsylvania. It's like a kind of a cute little suburb, I guess, of Philadelphia. And I got a voicemail on my phone.
Literally parking.
Literally pulling into park.
Get the perfect timing.
Yeah, so
that's not perfect timing, bitch.
So I you know how when you have an iPhone, you get the little the text message. I didn't even listen to the voicemail. I read the voicemail and I was like, oh no.
And I was like, what? What's wrong?
And I'm trying to see if I can pull up the voicemail. I can't. Why have I tried? Never mind. But yeah, it said essentially, oh, here it is. Unable to transcribe this message. Oh, no, that was the past. Why am I doing this? I should just stop. Oh, here it is. So there's a bunch of blanks because the guy who left the message does not articulate.
Oh.
To tell you that due to illness, tonight's show with the Monkees, spelled EYS, at the theater is postponed and will be rescheduling date as soon as possible. So it turned out, and all of the Monkees fans were standing around looking sad. And it turned out that the show had been canceled due to illness.
Oh.
And the big tour vans were there. They were unloading instruments and stuff and equipment.
Damn.
And I was just super bummed out. And we paid for parking, and we're like, what are we gonna do now? And so we just kind of we took some pictures. If you follow either Brad or I on Twitter or Instagram, you can see pictures of me wearing my tablecloth and my hat, looking super sad in front of the theater. And there were the little white signs in the windows saying that it was canceled. This has happened to me one time before. Seeing Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses canceled on me one time, but that's to be expected. I mean, the Monkees. I mean, come on. So we just kind of walked around this kind of small old town that was just full of sad Monkees fans.
Oh,
it was hilarious.
And we were all stopping each other, looking sad, swapping stories, and swapping the information that we had because it turned out. So there was also another like where you can pay, $200 a person, and you can go to sound check, and there was supposed to be a meet and greet.
Ooh.
And at that meet and greet, Andrew Sandoval, who is kind of the kind of diplomat guy for the Monkees. He's like the dude who speaks for the Monkees. He's their archivist and does a ton of stuff with them. He had explained that Mike Nesmith had fallen ill, and
at the sound check.
Yeah, at the sound check, and the rest of the tour was canceled. Like there were 3 more dates left, and the rest of the tour was canceled. And then so we're all walking around looking sad. And then there's a TMZ article that came out that said Mike Nesmith had collapsed at soundcheck and had been rushed to the hospital. And I'm like, oh my God, he better not fucking die. He's like 75. He's not soups old, but he lives that rock and roll Monkees lifestyle. Anything could happen. Yeah. And so we were all distraught and walking around. And I was wearing my Mike Nesmith shirt from when I had seen him solo at the Birchmere. And so, of course, people stopped me. And we got into a conversation with
4 other Monkees fans.
4 other Monkees fans. And it was cool because all 4 generations of Monkees fans were represented, which was pretty nice. Aww. There was a dude who was there originally in 1967. He was around... He said he was 9 when Head came out, so he didn't see it in the theater. I was like, oh, that's appropriate. And I can't age grown-ups. I'm like, I don't know. You could be super old. I have no idea. And then there was someone from the MTV era. So that's considered second generation because in the 80s, they started doing reruns of the Monkees on MTV. Yeah. And that's when Pool It came out, their 80s album. It is horrible. So awful. And then there was me. Oh, I guess there's 3 generations. Bad counting. Then there's me, and I'm of the 90s generation. So that's when they did a run of the Monkees on Nick at Night. They had Monkey Mondays on Nick at Night, which got taken over by Green Acres. And I still am like made physically ill by the Green Acres theme because I think
that's when I started watching it during Nick at Night. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So good. So you're 3rd generation.
Okay.
So we all just kind of hung out and commiserated and complained, and then and Brad and I went and got dinner. There, right next to the theater, there was a place called Humpty's Dumplings.
Oh. Okay.
And they had like
they did the Humpty dance inside.
Fusion. They did not do that.
God damn it!
I would not know the Humpty dance if I saw it.
Damn, Lisa,
but nobody was dancing
formulating
at all.
that image in my mind as we spoke. Oh man!
But they did like kind of like fusion dumplings. So it was like an Asian, Asian dumpling wrap. But it was deep fried, and then when you ate it, like inside there was like mac and cheese and stuff. It was gross.
It was
like a hybrid bao.
Yeah, it was mac and kim cheese.
Mac and kim cheese. Yeah. And there was another one. There was a Philly cheesesteak one.
Oh, delicious.
That one actually I thought was pretty good.
Buffalo chicken one.
Yeah, that one was gross.
Then there was shrimp and grits. Pretty good, actually.
That one was good.
That was pretty
Yeah,
good.
they were good. But I mean, also weird and super heavy. And so like when you're sad and you got greasy food and you're walking around and it's hot, it's like really nasty.
And there was no AC in the restaurant.
Eating greasy food. Yeah. So that happened. So disappointing. I loved meeting all of the Monkees fans. That was really cool.
Honestly, I was surprised you were not more upset. You did not cry. I
did not cry.
Really? I was shocked.
I was shocked. I was shocked like I was in shock. Because it was like one of those things where,
I was laughing because I was like, this is ridiculous. We just drove this horrible trek to just have to turn away literally in minutes after paying parking.
That is nuts.
But here's the thing. It's Pennsylvania parking. Yeah. It was $4 for 4 hours.
Oh, man, I'm thinking of $20. God damn it.
Yeah, this ain't DC.
It wasn't so bad. Like, here, like... So... Like, to me, I had not really been super anticipating this concert for some reason. I've been really crazy busy with work and trying to, like, do artistic
I had to remind
stuff.
you that it was happening that week twice.
Damn.
But yeah, so I just kind of like wasn't in the mental. So there was part of me who was kind of like, well, this isn't happening.
Maybe
You know what I mean?
part of it is you willed it and it's your fault.
God damn it.
But like, I still have Monkees tickets. It's
Yeah.
going to be like they're going to go on tour. You know, they're going to reschedule those dates.
Yeah.
They said sometime in January. So then it'll be then I'll be comfortable in my wool hat and knitted poncho, tablecloth poncho. So you know, I have something to look forward to. And then I got tickets to see Mike Nesmith and the First National Band in September at the Birchmere. So I'm going to see Mike Nesmith anyway, coming very soon. And actually, because this happened and I wasn't sure. So later, that TMZ article was refuted. And Mike Nesmith.
What a shock.
Mike Nesmith did not collapse at soundcheck.
Oh, okay.
And what happened was he just wasn't feeling well.
I think Mike Nesmith's people fed the story that he collapsed to TMZ so we wouldn't riot.
I don't know. Because I mean, like.
Smart.
Because why is TMZ reporting on the Monkees?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was bizarre. But so he didn't collapse. It wasn't any kind of medical emergency.
Telling you.
He was feeling
Fed it.
unwell, probably exhausted, and so he just wanted to go back to Monterey and see his own doctor and all of that stuff, which is totally his right as long as he still goes on tour and I still get to see the show. So I'm gonna see him at the Birchmere in September, and we did shell out for the $150 meet and greet tickets because I'm like, these dudes aren't getting any younger.
Sadness
I
money.
had to deal with some
Brad, cue
feels. I had to deal with some feels going like, oh my God, is something really wrong with Mike? Am I not going to get to meet Mike? Because I never got to meet Davey. Peter's the only monkey that I've met, and guess what? It was for free. So Peter's clearly the best one. In his old age.
Yeah.
So wonderful. And so sweet. And such like a rewarding experience. And Brad and I were joking about it today because he was going on about like how Comic-Cons, the economy of Comic-Con is being made lopsided by all of these celebrities from
Not
Marvel.
San Diego Comic-Con, but these Comic-Cons like Wizard
Smaller
World and
Comic-Con.
Ace, where Paul Bettany is showing up and Elizabeth Olsen and Tom Holland, and they're charging $200 for a signature when it used to be, $20 a signature.
So I was joking.
And it was, you'd be paying $20 for Lou Ferrigno because Tom Holland and Paul Bettany wouldn't come anywhere near a comic book convention.
Come on, Tom Holland. You don't need $200
Well,
for a signature.
yeah.
Well, they know people will pay it.
Well, that's the
Exactly.
problem.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
It's been proven acceptable behavior
Yeah.
in an acceptable economy, so we will never see the old ways
Yeah,
again.
no, it's a shame. But like to me, like when Mike Nesmith asks for $150 to meet me, it's because he would pay $150 not to meet me. Frankly,
Damn.
that's how I feel. That's how I take it. But I want to fucking meet him, and so I'm shelling out the dough.
That this is a conversation we've had many times on this podcast. That what it means for individuals like us just to say thank you, even in a false environment of paying money to be face to face.
Yeah.
It does feel like a genuine experience. With the barrier of money between us, I don't
To
know.
me,
It's hard to
it's just
explain.
like it's a way of just kind of like voting for them continuing to work.
Yeah.
To me, it's just like I want Mike Nesmith to know that I appreciate him, and I want you very rarely like when you buy a movie ticket. Like that money isn't going directly to the movie stars or whatever.
Yeah,
it's going through all of these filters. Like this is an opportunity. Like when we met Brett Spiner, I'm like, I am more than happy to hand the guy next to Brett Spiner $40 so that Brett Spiner
But that
knows
was
I love him
$40, not $200.
Yeah.
And to your point, Lisa, in this conversation we were having while we were having our walk before the podcast, we're playing the long game.
Oh,
all
yeah,
right?
I love
so
this.
Chris Evans.
Don't you dare steal this bit. This is my fucking bit.
All right, take it.
I said, I'm like, I'm not bothered that Tom Holland is asking for $200 because Brad and I are in it for the long game. Because one day Tom Holland is going to be 38 and he will have never worked again because people can't get over him being Spider-Man and his career is in the dirt. And then that's when Brad and Lisa roll up, and we hand them our $60, and we're like, we really liked you in Spider-Man.
Damn.
Yep. And it's going to happen to all of them. I'm going to get that Chris Evans signature for a discounted $40 in the year 2060.
Like he's going to be the next Michael Biehn.
Yeah.
No.
If he's lucky, I was going to say Lou Ferrigno.
Damn.
But Lou Ferrigno is literally handing out flyers and shit.
Yeah. You know what?
Damn.
I love Lou Ferrigno. Rock on, man.
Yeah.
Go get paid.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so that was my weekend to work.
sorry,
it took a
boo-boo.
full day.
Yeah.
But we ended up just driving back home, and we listened to Monkey songs until my
Pain went away.
My phone died.
That sounds like I'm sorry.
It was fine.
That's going to be my number 5 on my fistful of days.
Oh really?
The sadness of your monkey day, your monkey list day.
Oh, it was sad. But I had now the next time the concert rolls around, I've got my outfit all picked out. We
Yeah.
know what parking is like. It's gonna be
It's like recon. It's like a recon mission. Just scope it out to see. So now you know. Next time you'll be real prepared.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Brad, I know you probably had a weekend dork already to discuss, but I'm more interested in this TMZ conspiracy theory you got going.
I don't trust those guys.
How was your weekend dork?
My weekend dork was great, as usual. Besides that whole fiasco that I was also a part of.
Yeah.
Last night, Lisa and I actually went over to our pal's house, Muse Girl on Twitter, Lisa Bell Road.
Hey, Lisa.
She had like a little mini movie party, and I love these little shindigs that she puts together because one, she feeds us well.
Yeah, she does.
Gnocchi and bottomless popcorn and salad and gelato and angel food cake and wine and alcoholic ginger beer.
So
what? So thank you for all that food, Lisa. Other Lisa, as I like to call her.
I provided nothing. My presence was my presence.
Ditto. And we put it on her to be our curator. So she likes to find films that we haven't seen before.
You're in a tough crowd. You do understand that, right, B?
Yeah, I know.
That's a lot of pressure.
She actually found lots of movies I hadn't seen before. She had a long list, and I refused to give her any hint of what I was leaning towards. And Lisa did the same thing. So we put all the pressure on her to pick some good movies. And we did two. The first one's the one I really want to talk about. Was the 1979 Norman Jewison film starring Al Pacino and Justice for All. Have you ever seen this movie?
No, I don't think so.
Brian, have you ever seen this movie? This is the film where it's like, you're out of order. The whole court's out of order.
Yeah.
It's from this movie, the climax of this film.
Okay.
If you're an Al Pacino fan, this movie takes you through his entire filmography. Like every version of Pacino shows up in this film. From the, over serious to the method to the comical to the over the top. She's got a great ass.
Yeah.
That Pacino is in And Justice for All. The plot is he's a defense attorney. And we actually see several of his cases. The film opens up with a prostitute going into prison, being what do you call it when you're being processed? Yeah, being processed into jail. A transvestite prostitute, and it's just such a brutal and ugly look of how the system treats this person, and how she just does not get any form of human respect from the prison guards and the prisoners. And as she's being processed, we see Al Pacino in the corner of a jail cell, and he's there with all these other people. In fact, he's getting pissed on. A guy pisses on him.
Oh, okay.
And that's how we're introduced to Al Pacino.
All right.
And he's in there because he took a swing at a judge because he really hated this judge, and this judge denied a motion, and I guess he went for the punch.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to mention, it's co-written by Barry Levinson, and Levinson's films are like usually all around Baltimore. It takes place in Baltimore. Baltimore of the late 70s. It's a really interesting city. There are shots in this that I really appreciated, because normally this type of film would be shot in New York City or Chicago or wherever, and Baltimore has a very specific look, vibe, and feel.
That's what I was saying. What year did this come out?
1979. It's as old as I am.
Okay.
And he leaves. He gets bailed out, and he goes directly to another client who has just cracked up his car with his mistress riding alongside, and he has to make sure that this guy gets the mistress out of the way so his wife won't hear about it. And then there's another court case that he's dealing with in which this routine traffic stop escalated to, the guy had the same name as another individual who had a warrant out for his arrest, so he gets arrested accidentally. But while he's in jail, there's a stabbing in the jail, and someone throws a knife at his feet, and now he's going to jail for this murder. And he had a motion in play, but because he brought the evidence in 3 days past the due date, the judge threw it out, and that's when he took a swing at him. So those are the cases that are going on in Pacino's life. His law partners are Jeffrey Tambor.
With hair.
With lots of hair.
What? Yeah, it's weird.
It's Tambor's very first role.
Baby Tambor.
Yeah. And like halfway through the movie, he has like a little bit of a mental breakdown, and he's very much like the screaming, crazy Tambor.
You can tell that perhaps Al Pacino took some notes from Tambor's
screen performance. Yeah. And then I can't remember the actor's name, but his other law partner is the police captain from Die Hard with a Vengeance. I've never seen him in any other movie. The New York captain.
Oh yeah. He's bald on top.
No, he's got like he's got hair. He's got
in this movie. He's got hair. He probably ends up.
No. He's got like a little buzz cut and a mustache. White guy. Yeah. He's not bald in Die Hard 3.
Oh, okay.
I don't think. I'm pretty sure he's not. Anyway, that guy is his other law partner.
Okay.
Also a bit of a wheeler dealer type, and like the film just goes from heavy, serious drama to nods and winks at the camera. And it has this jazzy disco score throughout. So it's like,
it's distracting how 70s the score is.
All right, that woman just got beaten. Why can we lay back on the sax? And the film ends. Oh, the final trial, the main trial, is the judge he took a swing at is arrested for the rape and bludgeoning of another woman, and the judge asks him to represent him.
The logic being, well, you clearly hate me a lot because you tried to swing at me, so like the fact that you would defend me, I've got to be innocent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little mental maneuver.
But then, like, the film ends, he has that whole, like, you're out of order, the whole court's out of order freak down. He stumbles out of the court, and he sits on the steps. He looks directly into the camera, freeze frame, jazz score.
No, you missed it. You missed it.
What?
Jeffrey
Tambor.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Sorry, you tell it.
Okay, so, he just had this, like, he bore his heart
to the
out
jury.
To the court. He lost his mind. He probably destroyed his career. And so he goes to sit down, and Jeffrey Tambor,
who, when he lost his mind, shaved his head for some reason.
He shaved his head, and he was like throwing plates. Like he really went nuts, like full.
Yeah, throwing plates in the courtroom. Yeah. He went down to the cafeteria, stole all their dishes, went into a hallway, and just started flinging them at people in the hallways.
Yeah. So he had.
I'm telling you, this is a wacky movie.
He had a client get murdered, and it just snapped his brain.
Yeah.
So he looks down the court steps, and there's Jeffrey Tambor after creating this scene, going to work, and Jeffrey Tambor picks up his hair, and it's a wig, and he tips his wig
like a hat
to Al Pacino, and then walks in, and then you end on a laugh, and that's when you get the freeze frame
with Pacino staring directly into the camera.
So
jazzy
good.
Score kicks in.
So good. It felt a lot like an episode of Boston Legal. I just kept on expecting James Spader to come around the corner. But what it was like almost like a beat for beat remake of Serpico in my mind, where it's just
I think
he's
thematically,
the one good lawyer, you know, and all of this shit's going sideways, but he stays honest and destroys his career. It's the same thing.
Well, there was like this string of films in the 70s where they were madcap and ultra melodramatic, right?
Yeah.
And rarely do we get that range of tones in films today. I think there's a reason for that, because it's jarring and it's hard for you to like emotionally invest when, you know, characters are staring directly into the camera. And there's this whole helicopter crash sequence in the middle of it that's like there's a suicidal judge, and you know, and he's I don't know if I could recommend it, but as a Pacino fan, I think it's a must, because it really does feel like the turning point from Godfather, Panic in Needle Park Pacino to Devil's Advocate, Ocean's 13.
Because he did this right before Scarface.
Yeah. Well, and really, Scarface is probably like bye-bye old Pacino, hello new Pacino. And this film is the turning point. And it's a riot to watch as a Pacino fan. Just see him do every version of himself in one runtime.
It's a fun movie. I mean, I really enjoyed watching this movie.
And, you know, Jack Warden's in it, John Forsythe, Lee Strasberg, Jeffrey Tambor, Craig T. Nelson. Yeah, Bit prosecuting attorney part. He's a prick. He's in full action Jackson mode. It's an interesting little movie. Yeah, I liked it quite a bit. The other film we watched that night was The Ghost and Mrs. Muir, the Gene Tierney, Rex Harrison film. And that was an interesting film in the sense that here's a ghost story in which the supernatural element is nonchalant. And you're just like, yeah, I live in this house and there's a sea captain here who I talk to and I maybe love. Well, you know.
It's a 1900s period film. I
liked it a lot.
Sweet.
But nowadays, when you get a ghost story, usually there's some
people are
nefarious thing happening. Yeah, it's a scary thing. I just watched My Neighbor Totoro for the first time, also for the Sean Eastridge's Missing Frames
that
podcast.
Was not his name. I will look it up.
No, yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that also has like a supernatural element that's like, it's a good thing. Oh, you got soot sprites. That's wonderful. Yeah. And here's the Ghost and Mrs. Muir. Yeah, they got a ghost and he's pretty good and he's going to give you some relationship advice and you might fall in love with him along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
You want like a malevolent being?
I mean, I always want a malevolent being. Yeah. I always want that.
Didn't you just watch Hereditary?
Yeah, that's what I want.
Not good for the year.
No, I want King Payment.
Dude, have you been thinking about that movie?
Yeah.
Then?
The more I think about Hereditary, the more I like it.
Okay, I just watched the trailer for Justice for All. There was a shot of the judge shooting a gun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jack Warden. Yeah, he's in the court and he's like, "We'll have order. Bam. No big deal. Don't worry. Later on." The judge is trying to blow his brains out in the bathroom with a shotgun.
Oh,
that's the judge who crashes the helicopter.
The helicopter seems pretty great
in the middle of the movie too.
Oh wow,
it's
all right. So I have to watch this.
Yeah, now? I don't know. I would recommend it for Pacino fans certainly. Yes, I have just spoiled the ending to the film, but you know it's 38 years old.
Yeah.
And you still want to watch it. It's really good.
I do. I want to watch it now.
So, yeah, there you go. That's my Weekend Dork.
All right. For my Weekend Dork, me and Pody, we went to see Jurassic World. Yeah. Fallen Park? Fallen Kingdom?
Yeah, Fallen Park, correct.
Fallen dinosaurs off the cliff.
Oh, no. So sad.
So we went to see that. Also, I just come from the movies actually before I came over here to record. I just saw the Kiersey Clemens, Nick Offerman film Hearts Beat Loud.
Yeah, I wanted to see that.
I kind of because I wanted to go see that because I wanted to have that for my Weekend Dork. And while I found the film was okay, I keep going back to I feel like I want to talk about I want to talk about Westworld for my Weekend Dork. Specifically. Not because of the one episode that I was losing my mind for on social media, but just how like when you talking about Brian and also Brad with Luke Cage and Brad, how you said that for season 1 of Luke Cage, you were on board for like the first half, and then the second half, you kind of
it's not as good.
Right.
I still think it's fine.
Right. And Brian, for you saying when you talked about you watched the entire first episode, Brad, you're not going to finish watching the series
unless Brian says it's great.
Right. And so for me, because you were having such a hard time getting through the first episode, and I had a similar experience to a lesser extent with season 2 of Westworld. Meaning I'm coming off the heels of the first season, and I love the first season of Westworld. It's some great television storytelling, right? And so coming to season 2, I was super excited. And I don't know that that was fair for me to have this level of expectation or excitement for the show.
It's natural.
Yeah. And
Lisa and I were right there with you.
So in season 2, it seems like we're picking up immediately after season 1. But then as the season 2 progresses, they're doing some things with time jumping that I kind of found frustrating and maybe convoluted.
Agreed.
And not like it was in season 1. Season 1, I felt like it was done brilliantly when it's revealed that they're 2 separate timelines. And it was done in a way where, when that reveal happens, I'm like, oh shit, like, oh, okay, I get it now. That's pretty cool. But in this season, instead of going back between a past and a present timeline, it seems like it seems more ambiguous as to when how the editing is taking place, because there are certain scenes when Jeffrey Wright's character is with one character, and then it'll cut to someone else, and then it'll come back to Jeffrey Wright, but he's with a different character, but it's supposed to be in the same timeline. And like, I found that really confusing. So needless to say, like the first half of the season, I was not really impressed.
Lisa and I stopped watching it.
Yeah, we did.
So then I'm hearing things about the 5th episode, and the 5th episode is the introduction of Shogun World, which is has been hinted at previously throughout the show. And so we finally actually get to Shogun World. And it's another part, and it's like Westworld, but it's Japanese themed. And so like that episode like really made me sit up, and because the way that it was done, the production design, the character work that was going on in it, and the last scene of the episode, like there's this guy that gets his comeuppance, and like it was really, actually that wasn't even his comeuppance, that was just, maybe it was. Well, I don't know. There's a killing in the episode, and it was really shocking and surprising, and I thought it was badass.
It was very Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yeah, and so then the following episode happens, and it kind of wraps up some of the storylines and the threads that are introduced with the Shogun World, and I thought that it was done magnificently. And so then episode 8 happens, and that's the one where it's called Kikuyu, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and it focuses solely on the Native Americans in Westworld that are called the Ghost Nation. So there are these Native Americans who have this white body paint and tribal paint, and they'll have some markings, some dark markings on their face and over their body and stuff like that. And whenever they come around in Westworld, it is the fantasy aspect of the cowboys and Indians. So for that particular experience in the park, so you want to go to Westworld, you want to play cowboys and Indians and live out that fantasy. Well, they have the Indians. They have the scary Indians, the Native American aspect of that fantasy element at Westworld. So whenever they show up, there's always this sense of dread, or something horrible is going to happen because they're savages. And this episode talks about, because season 2, at the end of season 1, the hosts in the park, and by hosts I mean the non-humans, the robots or whatever, they begin to become aware and gain sentience. And so that's what's been happening throughout season 2. What happens with that sentience, and what does it mean to them? And Tandy Newton's character, and also what is the other lead lady's name?
Evan Rachel Wood's character. They're all about going out and spreading this message. Hey, we're not here for their enjoyment. We're living things too. Let's go and gain our freedom, right? And so this episode just takes a look at,
while Evan Rachel Wood and Tandy Newton are doing their thing, starting their uprising. Well, this is what happens to these particular hosts in the park when they become self-aware. And it's a fascinating look. It's one of the things that, for me personally, I probably never would have thought about because I'm just so used to focusing on, the main characters of the story. And man, I'm telling you, like, it is such a surprising and an emotionally beautiful episode. I mean, I was not expecting that. The episode is entitled Kiksuya, and it stars the lead in this episode is the actor's name is Zahn McClarnon, and in the episode in the series his name is Akichita, and he is the Native American leader of I only say he's a leader. He's the leader of one of the Ghost Nation's tribes, and it's just about what happens when he becomes aware that I'm built by these humans, and my purpose for them building me was to serve in this friggin' fantasy for these people who come in here and do all manner of crazy shit to us. And so but just to show like what happens with him and how this awakening affects him it's in keeping with the show and the themes of kind of like what's being looked at a little bit in the Jurassic World movies, where we build these things, but then are we responsible for them, or how far does our responsibility go to them? As far as do we view them as other living beings, or what? And so there's that element that I found fascinating, and what these particular people, whom you might not give two thoughts about, but they're very much something that was created by these people, and they are programmed to have feelings too. And when they have feelings and when they do get angry or when they do love, it's just as pure and potent as someone who was born and not built. You know what I mean? And so, but the acting and this particular performer, Zahn McClarnon, I haven't seen him in anything else, but he gives an outstanding performance. And I like that when he's with his tribesmen, he's speaking in his native language, so they use subtitles, and so it allows him to be as expressive as he can with his native tongue. And I found that to be very rewarding, because when what the show is doing is saying that, for me personally, when I see him, I prejudge him. I think, oh man, he's going to be a savage. He's coming to like peel scalps off and things like that. But then you get a look behind that. Firstly, it's just his programming. That's just what he was programmed to do by the park creators and stuff, right? But then, there's something else behind that. There's something else behind what I see from the outside. And then, I don't know, I was not expecting this particular episode to be what it was. And then the following episode is the penultimate episode. It's called Vanishing Point, and Ed Harris's character gets a chance to, Ed Harris, the actor, gets a chance to shine in this particular episode, because it's really focused on the Man in Black. And I really enjoy, because he's going crazy to the point now where, his daughter is tagging along, and he doesn't think she's real. He thinks she's a host. He thinks that Anthony Hopkins' character is from the grave, Ford, is messing with him and trying to manipulate him. So he's trying to work some stuff out, some history out between he and his daughter, which I find really interesting. And so as we record this tonight is the season finale of season 2, and I'm really excited. I turned around on the show after the 5th episode, and I was worried after the first 2 episodes. I kind of felt like you, Brad. I was like, man, I don't know that I'm going to watch the rest of this series, but I stuck through it, and I don't know. I guess I'm saying Luke Cage has the potential to do something like what Westworld is doing, maybe.
Yeah, but who has the time to spend all these hours and all these shows hoping that they get better?
I agree. I don't even know.
I mean, Lisa and I, I think the conclusion that we came to with Westworld was that we enjoyed the experience so much of just binging that show on Blu-ray that we decided we're just going to wait until it's all done, avoid spoilers for the most part, and then...
Except for everything Darren just said.
Yeah. Tune that out, though, like you always do.
I think, especially starting the first episode, you're required keep a lot of stuff from the first season in your head.
Absolutely.
And then on top of that, as you're going through, just accumulating information. And I really do think that that it's like, you know, like for me, Westworld is just kind of like riding a wave. You just kind of got to get on top.
Yeah.
And then once you're on top, just watch it all the way through.
I agree, because it's such
it's dense,
thematically dense and content heavy show. Like the stuff that the ideas that they're touching upon, and then just the fact that you have a large cast of characters. You have Evan Rachel Wood's character, you have Jeffrey Wright's character, his own storyline, Tandy Newton's own storyline, and then James Marsden's own storyline. Anthony Hopkins is still ever present in a way. Tessa Thompson's character. There's so many characters that have significant plot points and storylines that, like you said, like for me, it was difficult also getting back on track. That was one of the things that had me having a rough time with the beginning of season 2, was that so much had happened in season 1 that I was having to try to bring myself back up to speed and also receive this new information from the new season. So I can kind of see that. I would rather be able to watch season 2 like in one sitting. I think I would have had like a different experience with it.
I think another issue that Brad and I both had is that it has all of these storylines going on. Not all of the storylines are equally compelling. Yeah. Like the Evan Rachel Wood storyline, I've lost boring. Interest. So boring. Tessa Thompson, you know I love her.
Yeah.
Brian, you know I love her.
Oh, yeah.
But like in this show, I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
I have no interest in what she's up to.
Yeah.
I thought that her introduction was unfair. Like, you know, like just have this corporate woman who's naked all of the time and like now she has to be interesting. Like, that's a lot to ask.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, in this season, she's closed I think all of the time she's closed, and she's doing more. She has a significant impact on, at the very least, Tandy Newton's
plotline. Was she naked all the time in the first season?
Yes. Like there was like a whole scene where she was like
Tandy
having
Newton
a business meeting and she's naked, or was this just my dreams?
Well, she had a business meeting while she was having sex with a host.
Oh,
but I don't think she was naked the whole time.
Oh.
Maybe
I'm pretty good at remembering. I'm pretty good at remembering naked ladies.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't know.
You're blaming her and Tandy Newton, because Tandy
Newton was naked all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, but there's a moment in episode 8 when she's doing some acting. And I was talking about this before we started. I was telling Brad, but she's on a table, and the host in the park, they have voice command settings. So if you are an engineer or whatever, you can speak a voice command and put the host in a non-active state, a state to be analyzed and have your test runs, a diagnostic state, so to speak. And she's laying on this gurney, she's laying on this table, and she's in this diagnostic state, and her eyes are just looking off, 1,000 yards there, just looking straight up. And there's something significant happening with the story in her character's plotline, storyline, and another character, and she's it's like almost like in Get Out when the maid right. that scene where on the surface she's just saying no, but there was that
another
the grandma she's doing something like that without moving her face and just with her eyes, and it was astonishing. It is so good. It is so good. And I don't know. And plus, I'm just a sucker, and I get really emotional on certain things and shows. And the storyline with her and her daughter it takes an interesting turn in this episode, and I just thought it was brilliant. So yeah, if you're watching Westworld, tonight is the season finale for season 2. So it means that it should be bingeable on HBO from the beginning to end for once they have the episodes on demand. Yeah, I highly recommend it. The first couple episodes might take you a while to get through, but definitely it's worth the haul. Just if you can make it to episode 5 when they get to Shogun World. Man, the actors in that one, Rinko Kikuchi, she was so good in that. Yeah, that was my weekend dork. When we come back from the break, we will be talking about the blockbuster event of the summer. We were so surprised at how great this movie turned out. don't listen to those reviews on Letterboxd. They're just ploys. They're just ploys to get you thinking that we didn't like the movie, when in fact we loved it, right? Oh, okay. Maybe just me. So when we come back from the break, we're going to be talking about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. See, I got the title right this time. I must have really loved it. Yeah, so stay tuned for that. Dang.
Hey, this is Liz from People I Think Are Cool, a bi-weekly podcast where I interview my favorite creatives from across the globe. If you're looking for a dose of creative inspiration, then go to peopleithinkarecool.com or subscribe to People I Think Are Cool on iTunes and Stitcher.
You like film, from cult to classic, from blockbuster to B-movies. And there just isn't that one place with all the fan fervor and passion that's covering the kind of mad, diverse brilliance that you love.
Well, that's where you're wrong.
AfterMovieDiner.com is that fan-built movie nirvana just for you, featuring the sweet, sweet writings of the wife dork herself. AfterMovieDiner.com. Go there. Be the best you can be.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today for our review cast, we are talking about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. This is a sequel to Colin Trevorrow's Jurassic World, which is a sequel to
the original trilogy.
Yeah.
From the 90s.
Yes.
And Jurassic Park 3, 2001.
Yep.
Was Jurassic Park 3 2001?
Yeah.
Dang.
That's crazy. I'm hearing
Never
that
forget.
the Jurassic World
hard
Fallen
not to.
Kingdom has a pretty good opening weekend
Yeah.
so far, which means that people still like to see dinosaurs. So as we always do, we're going to go round robin with the good, the bad, the ugly of the film.
And we're going to spoil the hell out of this thing.
Yep. So spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a Jurassic World.
Part 2.
Literally.
The last line of the movie was in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't only know that if you see the movie. So
True.
Yeah. Brian, take it away as far as the good of the film of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Well, I mean, I mentioned this, and of course, I have my own review up on the YouTube channel.
You like getting away from us?
No.
Breaking
I didn't.
free.
I didn't spoil it. I actually pimped out this episode.
I watched it.
We watched it.
Nice. Okay. But yeah, I did a spoiler-free review just to give my initial thoughts. I thought it was middle of the road. It was, as we always say, mediocre. So yeah, but there are some things that I do like about it. And let's highlight some of that. I do kind of like a little bit of the direction that they took in the first half of this film, when you kind of introduced the idea of, do these animals deserve to be saved? You know, they want to take these animals off. The Jurassic, the park has been shut down, and the Isla Nublar is basically filled with these. Is now has an active volcano. And so now it's basically a rescue mission. That's, should we go and save these dinosaurs, even though they are man-made? So I like how they kind of introduced this idea, this question, and what is to be done with that. And then also, I want to probably speak to a little bit of the technical style that J.A. Bayona brings to this. There was one scene in particular that I really did like during that first half of the movie, when they're in the little rollerball thing and they go off the cliff, and Chris Pratt jumps off and he's in there, and the camera's inside the bubble mechanism thing, which I don't know what's called.
The gyro.
Thank you, Brad.
Delicious.
Gyro. They are good. Lamb meat. It's good. But the camera's inside, and there's one shot with you see Chris Pratt trying to get Bryce Dallas Howard and Justice Smith out of the gyro, and I really like how that scene kind of builds up, especially the way he keeps the camera in that one shot, moving it around. I thought that was a really, really cool technique that he uses. Something else that I kind of liked in this too was I didn't know how I felt about it as I was watching it, but in the third act, it feels kind of like a horror film, kind of like a Monster House film, where everything is kind of self-contained. We haven't really seen that type of style in a Jurassic Park film before.
I would say that Spielberg's original, the kitchen sequence with the raptors,
that makes sense.
Is very much that.
Yes.
And if you took that scene and expanded it into
like a 30-minute. Yeah.
Practically an hour. I mean, a lot of the film is
the entire third act.
The threat of the old dark house plus dinosaurs.
And by my estimation, this movie was 9.5 hours long. So it was like 3 hours.
It's 128 minutes. And like, is it broken up to like half of the film takes place rescuing the dinosaurs?
The first act.
Just about.
It feels less. Like I felt.
Well, I would say that's the second act. Okay. That's the entire second act.
Because like the first act is like Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt reuniting.
Yes.
Then we're on the Isla Nublar, and then we're in the house.
Yep.
Yeah. So I did like some elements in that third act. I thought that was really interesting. It was really kind of fun to kind of watch Jay Bayona. Of course, we know him from The Impossible, from A Monster Calls, and The Orphanage. So he definitely has those roots in horror. So you could definitely see him kind of in his wheelhouse, playing around with a lot of the techniques and some of the aesthetics of the horror genre in that. So you can really see that he's having a lot of fun in that third act. And I was on board with that. I thought it was a lot of fun, especially with that new hybrid dinosaur.
I like it in theory.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of, the Nostromo, the alien prowling through the night, taking people out. The idea of this Endoraptor on the loose and other creatures on the loose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of it's handled well, but
damn.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that.
All right, you skipping ahead, D. Skipping ahead.
But
what about the cast? What about the cast?
Oh God, we'll talk about more of that on
on
the other end.
Oh damn, never mind.
But I do like Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. They're great on screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're great.
Damn, that's it. Okay, you'll
they're
leave it at
good.
that.
They're pretty people. I like looking at.
Yeah.
Damn, B.
They are attractive individuals. Yeah.
Okay. Chris Pratt has that gleam in his eye, you know, kind of makes me forgive him from Infinity War, what he did.
What?
I'm joking. It's a joke, Brad.
Don't you bring Avengers into this?
I don't blame Star-Lord. I don't.
Okay.
I'm not in that camp. But those are my good.
All right. Wife Dork.
Yes.
I
will always love the idea of people interacting with dinosaurs and dinosaurs having some kind of ability to tell if you're a good person or a bad person. Like this Disney princess idea of like, I'm one with the animals, and see this dinosaur can tell that my intentions are good and therefore it's not going to eat me. I like that. I always like like to fantasize, I get to pet a dinosaur one day. It's so nice.
Yeah.
I also enjoyed the discussion in the beginning of the movie about dinosaurs being an endangered species. Yeah. And I think that could have totally been the entire movie. We never really even had to go to the island and look at the dinosaurs. I think that could have been a really interesting kind of drama about dinosaurs. I think that as a series, even these Jurassic World movies do a good job of creating empathy for the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
You really do feel for them. Like there's like one scene where like the lava's flowing down and they're going away in the ship, and there's like one dinosaur that's stuck behind.
Yeah.
There were a couple of cackles in our theater, but I had some feels. I was like, you have to go back. Like I felt for him, and I felt for Blue when she needed the blood transfusion. I care about these giant lizards. I really do. I like the idea of the end of the movie where the dinosaurs are transitioning back into being in the wild, and then somehow humanity is going to have to learn to live in harmony with these now wild creatures. There's actually a new podcast I'm listening to called Bubble about a modern day city that exists within a bubble, but then there's like these crazy creatures that come and like alien creatures that come and murder people, and you kind of have to live in peace. And there's like an Uber type app where you can like get hunters to come and hunt. Like, oh, there's one of the things in my backyard. I got to get someone to come rest. Like, it's a drama podcast.
Wait, this is a podcast? Like
it's so good.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's called Bubble. I would love to plug who it's written by, but I can't remember his name. Jordan Morris. It's by Jordan Morris of Jesse Go. And I generally don't go for fiction podcasts, but it's really funny. But if Brad can say that the best thing about Incredibles 2 is Bow, then I can say that the best thing about Jurassic World 2 is Jeff Goldblum's don't talk or text during the movie thing at the Alamo.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that so much. It's Jeff Goldblum introducing this new system for taking care of talkers and texters, and it's a dinosaur named Sheila, and she'll just come and eat you.
Had you not seen that before?
I had not.
Awesome.
And
That's a no-no. That's a no-no.
He was doing this like crazy acting thing, like with his hands. I could not it was like he was hypnotizing me.
Well, where he does that bye-bye, bye-bye, and then that weird little
and then
hand.
it's like a weird hand. Yeah. I don't know. I was like, are you becoming the Fly right now? Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But yes, that was really entertaining. So I guess that's my good.
All right, Brad.
I presented those in no logical order, guys.
It's okay.
I think there's a lot about this theoretically that I like. To Brian's point, the scary haunted dino mansion, I think could have been amazing.
Yeah.
I like that on paper.
Yeah.
To Lisa's point, dino rights and protesting and what's Congress going to do and the scene of Jeff Goldblum, stating his case. I love that could have been great. So I like all that. I love dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs eating people. In fact, the fact that now, 5 movies in, they're going really deep into the variations of these creatures. That dinosaur that attacks the gyro on the cliff.
It's pronounced hero.
Whatever. I refuse to pronounce those machines that way, Lisa.
Okay, sorry.
The Carnotaurus. I love that dinosaur.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's got those little devil horns.
Yeah.
Seeing him on screen is great. And that one shot of the eye coming up onto the hero machine is really fantastic.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I love, before that, when Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard... No. It's Bryce Dallas Howard and the screamy kid. What's his...
Franklin.
Yeah.
But what's the actor's name? He's from...
Justice Smith.
Yeah,
The
from
Get Down.
The Get
Get
Down.
down,
Yeah.
So they're cornered and the volcano has erupted and the lava is coming in through the ceiling this warehouse area where the control panel is. And then the baryonyx dinosaur comes in and is screaming. Love that. I think that's the best shot in the entire movie. Okay.
You like the bonkhead one? What's that guy called?
The Stiggy Moloch.
He's cool.
I
like seeing him mow through the suits.
Yeah. The Ramosaurus is what I call him. But apparently he's a Stiggy Moloch.
Oh.
It's not as fun to say. And then there's that Triceratops that's not a Triceratops, the Sinoceratops. I like that guy a lot.
I want to cuddle one of those.
And I like when those dinosaurs are clashing. I love all of that stuff.
Yeah.
When the T-Rex comes in and takes down the Carnotaurus.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
And I actually like the effect of the gyro going off of the cliff.
Yeah.
And I like watching the behind the scenes stuff of how they built a roller coaster to make that happen.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And, J.A. Bayona went to great lengths to marry the practical with the digital.
You could definitely tell.
And in a lot of cases, it really works.
Yeah.
And I like the Endoraptor in theory.
I do too. I love the design of it. Yeah, I mean, but of course you're following suit with what they created with the
Imperious Rex, or
Indominus Rex. Indominus Rex in the last
Jurassic
film.
World, yeah.
But that what's the giant sea dinosaur?
Oh, the Mosasaurus.
The opening scene definitely had a lot of scary and horror elements in there that I thought was really done effectively. We just
watched the trailer to the Meg before this, though, and there are moments in the Meg trailer that I wish the opening of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom would pull off. There is a lot of shadow cast of the big beast, but I just don't think it's as effective as it could be in that opening sequence.
Okay.
I don't know. My favorite shot of that thing is the climax,
The
and
end.
we'll get to that.
Oh, my goodness.
With the surfers, and you see it in the trailer.
It's awesome. That's a great shot.
Yeah.
That's a great shot.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So and I like the Brachiosaurus crying out on the dock as the lava.
He stands up on his little feet. He's like, I'm a person too.
But that's okay. Well, I'll hold off on that. Okay, yeah, that's my good.
No, nothing good about the cast.
No,
anyone in the cast?
No,
that's
none.
Okay,
nothing.
Any good with J.A.
I like
Bayonna's,
Pratt in theory. I like all of these actors in thery.
Nothing good about J.A.
I think I've said
Bayonna's direction.
Yeah, there's that shot. I told you about the shot I liked.
Oh, okay. All right. I liked everything that you all liked.
You probably gave it the highest rating out of anybody.
Apparently in the world. So it sounds like
No. There's definitely. I've spoken to several listeners on Twitter who really love this movie.
Yeah, there are people who really like this film.
Yeah, I enjoyed. I enjoyed the opening. I enjoyed all the stuff with the politics regarding Jurassic Park and our responsibility to the creatures. Again, I like what Lisa said. I mean, I felt like an entire movie whenever they start the inevitable Jurassic Park shared universe and start doing, spin-off stories or whatever. that's the one I want to see. I want to see the drama, the courtroom drama, the political drama about dinosaur rights, because it's I think it's a relevant topic regarding like your responsibility to these things that you create. They didn't ask to be here. Exactly. And so that one scene when the Brachiosaurus is on the docks, that's the first thing that went through my mind as far as me pulling, because there were chuckles in my audience too, but I felt the emotion in that scene, because I was thinking like that thing didn't ask to be born or created, and yet the people who are responsible are leaving it there to die. Yeah. Where does that responsibility come into as far as like what should we do? So I think
it was Jeff Goldblum's responsibility. He
right?
gave a whole speech about it.
Right. And I really feel like the movie could have and should have focused just on that. Because it's a movie like that is about dinosaurs, and we love dinosaurs. So when you put them at the heart of the movie instead of some hybrid kid or whatever, and you make the dinosaurs the heart of the film, I think that would make for a more compelling drama, because it's something that we don't normally have. And for me, it's the studio is afraid to make these dinosaurs the star of the film, like with the Transformers movies. They don't want to make the robots. And I feel like we've come a long way. Caesar has proven that the audience and will get invested to an animal or a creature.
You want Blue to be the star of Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
She should be, but not Blue. I don't want Blue to be the star. I want the dinosaurs. That discussion, like every dinosaur on that island had the potential to be the star of the movie, based on that discussion of do we have a responsibility to go get them, or should we just let them die? And the fact that Jeff Goldblum says he thinks and he feels that he believes they should be left to Mother Nature, to me, I think that's an interesting conversation there, because especially what you just said, Brad, like, well, Jeff, or when you said, Jeff Goldblum is responsible, his history with the park and his thoughts initially, and him coming,
He was always against the park. He was always like, you're playing with fire.
Exactly. And even the first film he was.
Yeah. So he's just like, finally, somebody's wiping the situation out, and it's God.
Right. And so I don't know. I think there's a lot to be said there, just between that particular character and the thesis of our responsibility with the dinosaurs. But it's supposed to be like an entertaining summer blockbuster movie, so you have to have like all these crazy set pieces and dinosaur action. And for the most part, like with the structure of the film, actually having said it out loud, Brad, with the beginning reacquainting the stars, and then going on the rescue mission on the island, and then transitioning to the third act where we have a lot of that take place at that mansion. For me, and thinking about it in hindsight, like that is for me, I like that of the film. Now, do I think we could have done without going back to the island? Yes, I really feel like, I'll get into the bad, but I like the structure of the film as it is. I like the entire. I like the third act as far as them going through the house. I would have liked to see an expansion on that, and I liked the little girl, the young lady. I don't know her name. The test tube baby. Isabella Sermon. She plays Macy. Her name is Macy in the film. I liked Macy. There's a moment. I like that scene when Chris Pratt is trying to get her to. He's trying to gain her trust. She's running from them. She jumps in like I guess it was a laundry chute or something. It was one of those things.
Yeah, the dumbwaiter.
Lazy Susan.
Dumbwaiter.
Yeah, and Chris Pratt is trying to coax her out of there and get him. I really like that exchange between them. I liked her performance in that scene.
I like the fact that she already knew. I've forgotten her name.
Owen.
She already knew Bryce Dallas Howard, and yet she always hugged Chris Pratt. She was like, "Oh, I'm scared." Muscles.
Well, that and I like that they're alluding to that is because she saw him in that footage in his relationship with the dinosaurs, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying, like how you like the idea that a dinosaur can look at a person and tell if they were a good person. And how she was doing that too, just by looking. She had this.
And he was a hunky
about
dude,
him.
and she's
and is that? And then maybe she's a half dinosaur too.
I hope so. She fucking better be. That's what I have to say.
Because
there could be all kinds of crazy things in her DNA.
Right, and so maybe that's why she could look at Chris Pratt and go, "Oh, I trust you. You're a good person." That's her dino DNA. It's her dino intuition, maybe.
DNA from Blue.
Yeah. Oh shit, son. All right. So I mean, I liked the end of the film. The end of the film. I love the end of the film and the implications on it. Because since we're talking spoilers, so the dinosaurs are loosed from the mansion and their captivity there. They're released into the wild, aka our suburbs or the urban suburbs or whatever. And so they're out into the real world. And the movie ends on that note. And I like the idea of that. And it's there's a shot at the end where the pterodactyls are flying against a sunset. And I like the idea that sunset is the same sunset that is setting now, and not like in the past, like it's in the real world. And so just the implications of what that means, how does the public respond? And now it's no
longer the same shot from Jurassic Park 3.
Really?
Well, with the pterodactyls leaving the island,
but they're here now.
Yeah,
and so
I guess they got tired.
But that's the thing. Like I like that they're within the human population and what that could mean.
I love the shot of Blue on the hill coming up over the suburbs, and it's like E.T. the Velociraptor.
Yeah. He's gonna get shot if those homeowners have firearms. Blue's gonna die. But I still just like the idea of that, and they're gonna call the SWAT team, and it's not gonna end well for Blue. But I don't know. I like the idea of these dinosaurs running loose. I want to see, I want to see Jurassic Park like I want to see us lose to the dinosaurs. I want to see Planet of the Apes. I want to see.
You want to see Jeff Goldblum's Jurassic World.
Yeah, I want to see that. So yeah, I love the ending of the film, and that is what it hints towards. All right, Brian. The bad of Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Well, I guess I'll just kind of segue into what you were just talking about with the ending. I've wrestled back and forth with this. In the theater, I guess leading up to that ending and that choice that's made when the dinosaurs are about to die if they don't get let free, and Bryce Dallas Howard is contemplating, pushing that button to let them free, and Chris Pratt tells her, it's like, look, if you push that button, there's no going back.
Babies are going to get eaten.
Exactly, and I think this is a very debatable topic as far as like the decision that's made, especially when the little girl Macy actually does push the button.
That's the real problem I have.
Yeah.
Is the way they release it by having the dumb kid make that decision from a very childish, innocent and idealistic point of view.
And then what that means for the rest of the world. I mean, okay, you save these endangered species at the risk of the lives of.
But it was just a dumb kid who did it, Brian.
No, but I don't think. For me, I see what you're saying, B. But I think they crossed the line of no return when they decided to make the first dinosaur. Like I think that was just like from that's opening Pandora's box.
But for an adult to push that button is to murder another human being. Human beings will die because of this door being open.
Yeah.
For a child to do it, you can go like, oh, a kid did it. Like that is such an excuse softballed up to us by the writers of this. I find it to be so frustrating. I find that so frustrating.
Yeah.
I would have been much rather it been Bryce Dallas Howard making that point and then having to live with that.
Exactly. And that would be something interesting they could have explored in the third film.
Yeah. Well, sixth film.
Sorry, yeah, yeah, you're right. The sixth film. But I've wrestled back and forth with that because as I've kind of thought about it and think as far as like what this sets up for the third film, it could be a lot of fun. It could be interesting to kind of see these animals out in the wild. I mean, basically, you're making a 200.
What else can they do? You know, like we can't go back to the park again.
I mean, to me, there's no other choice. They're going to have to kill these dinosaurs. I mean, especially if you got a T-Rex running around in downtown Los Angeles eating people.
Well, I'm just saying, like, from a screenwriting, like, we want to keep the Jurassic World franchise going.
Exactly. I don't know where you
how
go after
else, you know, the fact that it took them this long to get off the island finally is a long time. Like, it's about damn time.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, that ending, it does bother me, but I do like where it could possibly take it, and it does take it into a new, fresh direction.
I'm much more interested in that film than what we got these previous two.
Yeah, I just think maybe and I think that's where I think I was trying to go with as far as the way it was probably handled, as far as them being released, and that does make a lot of sense with what you were saying. Going to the actors, I talked about this a little bit. A lot of the peripheral characters, secondary characters, I thought were really wasted. Justice Smith, God, was he annoying in this film? And I loved him.
I love when he screams.
I loved him in The Get Down. And he's a really, really good actor. And I don't know what they decided to do with his character, but he is completely wasted. You don't need him to be.
He is literally just a scream. That's all he operates
that's all he's
as a
used
scaredy cat.
Exactly.
To be the other coin of this other lackluster character.
And he's not funny.
Yeah.
And it's eye roll inducing. I mean, it's just not good. He's just not a good character.
I just need since we're talking about him and his character, while I did laugh every time he screamed, I also did not like. I mean, I'm tired of the smart tech guy always having to be like a timid nerd. Like that's not saying that there's anything wrong with the nerds, but the way that he looks for me, not all tech people look like that.
They can't all be Tej.
Wow, Brian. Wow.
I'm just saying.
Luckily, they can't all be Tej. You know what? I'm just let you finish. That's what I get for interrupting you.
Thank you.
God damn. Fucking Tej.
Yeah. Hey, it's made by Universal. Crossover.
I'd watch that movie.
I'd rather have Tej in this movie.
Yeah, I'd rather have Tej in this movie.
There you go. No, but I guess the last thing, and I don't know, is these corporate villains. I mean, we see them over and over and over again.
I mean, they show the reveal in the second trailer. They may have even shown the reveal in the first trailer. It's such an obvious, and actually, it's the exact same turn as in Jurassic Park: The Lost World.
This movie has a lot of the similar beats from The Lost World. If you look at it, if you compare these two movies side by side, but yeah, the corporate villains. You see it coming a mile
What's
away.
ridiculous is the fact that they try to keep James Cromwell innocent.
Yeah, I was wondering how his character was.
You don't know about this shit that's going on in your basement, dude?
Yeah.
I know. So, I mean, and the performances, Toby Jones, I was like, what are you doing in this movie?
Well, Toby Jones works for sandwiches. The guy's gotta eat. I respect. I don't begrudge any actor for taking a job.
Yeah, you're right.
And that goes for, Justice Smith. If I'm Justice Smith and somebody's like, Brad, will you play this screaming guy? Yeah, you got it. Yeah. I'll scream my heart out.
You're right. But
the fault lies on the writers, the directors, and the producers.
Yeah, and I guess that's where I'm going to put my blame at. But yeah, those are probably my biggest disappointments with the film.
All right. Wife Dork, the bad.
The bad.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt, their whole story seems to be like this will they, won't they thing, but I don't give a shit at this point.
Same.
Dinosaurs are loose.
They have zero chemistry.
To me, Chris Pratt, his character, is well, I was just trying to help. Like I was one with the dinosaurs, so his hands are kind of clean.
Yeah.
Bryce Dallas Howard, she's got to be dealing with some serious, complicated
Trauma.
emotions to her connection to
All the people who got killed.
the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Right. So
she's lucky she's not in jail.
So she could be this super intense, complicated character, but it's just kind of shrugged off, like, you know, I'm like, I feel kind of bad, but like I'm a helper now. So, you know, so to me, there's with those characters, there's just no there there. They're so intensely shallow. The girl activist, paleontological veterinarian. There were so many ways to make that character make sense. She could have just been a regular veterinarian, would have made more sense than her being, a dinosaur veterinarian that's never hung out with a dinosaur. I appreciated the fact that she was like resourceful, but I don't know. There was just something about her that was confusing. The way that she dressed was confusing. I was like, is she?
Well, apparently she was a lesbian
gay
character
yeah.
that then they
There were too many, like, to me, if she was a lesbian character, she seemed like just a ticked off box.
Right,
like,
exactly.
we need an LGBT person. Let's put her in a t-shirt. Bam.
But then they didn't have the confidence of actually having that character.
And to me, it's just like we need her to connect with the raptors, so she's going to be a raptor veterinarian. We need an LGBT character who is all of the races, and she looks like all of the races. So, bam. You know what I mean? Like, to me, she just felt like a big, like,
I think, that's my big problem with this Jurassic World, and to some degree the other Jurassic World, is that there are no real characters here. There's a bunch of archetypes,
right?
But they don't take the time to have relationships between each other. You know, you look at Spielberg films, you look at Jurassic Park 1, you look at Jaws, and it's all about how these insane events are affecting the people. And, those are still big spectacle movies. Certainly the first Jurassic Park is a big spectacle movie, but it takes time to let you know who these people are, how they behave with each other before they even get on the park,
where they stand,
where they stand on these issues, and then it shakes the snow globe. And with Fallen Kingdom, you get screamy guy, tough veterinarian girl, will they, won't they, evil billionaire, misunderstood scientist, clone daughter, a feckless Toby Jones. Like, you don't have any actual human beings or
and I think
approximations.
It does the actors a disservice, because then they have nothing to draw from, so all of their performances are subpar. Then the little girl as a genetic experiment, like, to me, I'm just like, this is going to be controversial. In comparison to making a dinosaur, cloning a person, not that big a deal. She really is just like an identical twin, which happen all the fucking time.
Not necessarily a big deal.
I mean,
but
on a grand...
thematically, it's incredibly interesting within the concept of Jurassic World. That is totally glossed over.
So to me, like, it would have been more interesting if there was something hidden in her DNA, like, oh, Chris Pratt, I don't feel well, ribbit, like something, just something a little bit more to make.
She's given such little screen time.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they're like, well, we always have a kid. We can't put the kid in the park. Like, where are we going to get a kid? What are we going to do with a kid? And, yeah, she just didn't fit in. Like, the movie could have been about her, I guess, but
I think, like, that's the problem with everything. Like, focus on one of these ideas. Let's tell a movie about that. Throwing everything in and all these people in and expecting that we're just going to, transfer our own emotions onto these characters is the problem with blockbuster cinema as a whole.
Right.
That's the Transformers problems.
I felt kind of sad for the babysitter lady. that she lost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Geraldine Chaplin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's another interesting character. That's another really interesting potential relationship. That's,
Yeah. So that's my bad.
All right, B, what is your bad?
It's all bad.
That was that?
I don't like anything about this movie.
All right.
I really don't. I found it really frustrating to watch.
He was getting actively mad.
I found it incredibly boring. And I felt like robbed of the opportunity of a really great story. I think the Jurassic Park franchise, since the first film, has struggled desperately to take its story to the next step and has failed in every sequel to some degree. And I feel like this is the most boring and rudimentary entry in the entire franchise. What Jurassic Park needed was that jump from Alien to Aliens,
That's a tall order.
It is a tall order. It is a tall order. But the way you do that is not to keep going back to the island. You have to get those dinosaurs off. And now that they're off, maybe the film can progress.
Yeah.
That's the hope I have by the end of this movie, is that there's a new story to be told or a new avenue to tell this story.
Yeah.
But just based on how the producers have treated the event and the fact that this movie still continues to make a ton of money, people ultimately just want to see dinosaurs do shit. And, that's what they're going to get. And if you come out of this movie and you were like, man, I loved that Endoraptor breaking out of the cage and giving Ted Levine his comeuppance because for some reason he needs that teeth necklace.
I think it's boner related. It feels boner related.
Oh.
It's such a soft movie. It's just such a nothing film.
Damn. God damn. I said you're bad, not you're ugly.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's just, it's crazy. Like, I try to think, like, what would I do? Give me a few $1 million, a few $100 million. And what would I do with the franchise? And I'm not 100% sure I have an answer for that.
I need an answer, B.
Yeah.
You brought that. I need.
Well,
an
we
answer.
can talk about it when the listeners.
No, I'm gonna forgo my bad section so you can. I want to know, what would you do?
Well, I mean, I like the idea of the dinosaurs are out.
Yes.
Yeah, and I like the idea of tackling the story from an ethical point of view, really digging into, the life finds a way and the chaos theory, the Jeff Goldblum character. Like, what a crime that, you bring Jeff Goldblum in to lip service, the philosophy that he had for 2 scenes. And I think, like, nearly every line of dialogue that he has is in the 2 trailers for this movie.
Yeah.
But, like, that moment, that's what I want to explore. That's the science fiction. There's a lot to say with the concept.
Yeah.
And they just want to, have kick-ass action sequences. And I'm all for kick-ass action sequences. You can go back to our fistful. My number 1 was Carnosaur. All right. Carnosaur is a better movie than Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Because Carnosaur is just like, let's do it. Let's just chew shit up. And, I would have thought J.A. Bayona could have at least delivered on that front, but I feel like he fails on an action point. Like, I don't think the escape of the Endoraptor is particularly interesting. I think it's very mundane and obvious.
Oh, that it got loose?
The way it's shot, the whole handling of his action sequences. I think they're super lame. Like that whole fight on top of the roof when it crashes through the glass ceiling and it finally gets impaled on the skeleton of the Triceratops is super dumb. Yeah, and the kid like scrabbling around on the outside of the rainy wall, and Chris Pratt joining her.
That's stuff. I mean, I like the bedroom sequence though. I thought I like that part of it. That was really interesting.
I mean, I think mentally, that is really interesting. I don't know if I necessarily thought it looked that great. You know, I think he shot it the way anybody would have shot that scene.
Possibly.
Yeah, shadows,
possibly,
window creaking. You know,
but we don't know.
Oh, well, we don't know. We don't know.
Oh, all right. God damn. Yeah, I guess everything Brad said. No, for me the bad of note is the reveal of Macy's her creation and the fact that she's a clone. For me, it felt like left field, but then as I sat with, okay, it makes sense, but the fact that they do nothing else with it, the fact that no one else really speaks of it, the fact that that character, at the very least, doesn't act like she's just been told that she's a clone. You know, they kind of, it's that thing that I don't like with other movies when, you know, someone dies and there's the movie follows a group of people who knew this person, especially like with an action movie, and no one even acts like that person just died. You know, people just forget about it. There's no emotional connection to the weight of this death. There's no emotional connection to the weight of the reveal that she is a clone. And I just felt like you said, Brad, there were a lot of ideas. It's another interesting idea that the film introduces but does nothing with. And so I don't know, like the action sequence at the end, while I do love the structure of the film, I thought the pacing was okay. It was just fine. I loved a lot of the stuff with, like, when the ramming dinosaur gets loose, it's knocking people in the air and shit. I thought all that was funny. But then, like, the climactic showdown between them and the Indoraptor and the stuff in the bedroom and that the thing on the roof, like I thought that was weak. I didn't find that too particularly interesting. Yeah, so I don't know.
All the dinosaurs get out, but then they all get cornered in that one little doorway.
Yeah.
And the only thing we need to worry about is the Stiggy Moloch for like a little bit and then the Indoraptor.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, there's dinosaurs everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah. So I don't know. And the ending with the decision being the little girl, I didn't necessarily have a problem with that because I really felt like, again, that was the consequence of man's meddling with natural occurrences. So if they had never created a clone, if the dude never, you know, succumbed to his own like hubris and ego and selfishness and wanting to recreate a life that was already lived, like, then she would have never been born and she would have never hit that button. Just like if they had never made the first, new dinosaur for the Jurassic Park, it wouldn't have got to the point where the first Jurassic Park got out of control and people got killed, and then it wouldn't got to the point where Jurassic World, you know, all that shit that happened. Like, so none of this stuff would have happened if they had just left well enough alone and let nature do what nature does instead of meddling into it. So the fact that she is the one that releases them, to me, feels like, well, again, it goes back to a choice, an action that someone else made. And so for me, I don't really have a problem. And then I like that line where she says, well, you know, they're alive just like I'm alive. You made them. You made me just like you made them. And I would want to be, I want to live. So she feels some type of connection because they were genetically engineered just like she was, you know, genetically bred or engineered or whatever. So that I understood. But, you know, the rest of it, I agree with what you said about the no chemistry between Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. Like, I just don't understand why they're doing their relationship like that. Like, they should just not even have to want to be together. They should just want to work toward a common goal
at all.
Right. Like, what's wrong with just having them want to work towards a common goal? Her wanting to go get him and his expertise because he's just an expertise on fucking velociraptors.
Here's the thing. Okay. The company had no way of breaking into that computer to track that velociraptor. They've captured all these dinosaurs, but they need Chris Pratt to find the raptor so they can shoot it with a trank.
He's a star in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. All right, Brian, you're ugly.
No real ugly. I guess maybe those teeth on the Indoraptor.
Yeah, they're gnarly. How about like Ted Levine, like jacking off to his tooth necklace.
Oh, okay. Is that what he's doing?
Yeah, you can say. I'll take that. There you go. Thank you.
All right. Lisa, you're ugly.
My ugly is the fact that the evil corporation in this movie was okay with killing people. To me, I don't feel like that's on message with the Jurassic Park idea. Like, the thing with the message of Jurassic Park is if you mess with the laws of nature, then nature will get you. The dinosaurs will kill you, and you will have it coming. The Jurassic Park was... The original Jurassic Park was the result of curiosity meeting economy, making a lot of money, whatever, doing it because you can. You figured out how to extract dinosaur DNA. Now you have to do it because it's there, right? And because of that, people are dying. Because of that, these animals now have nowhere to live and nowhere to be. So when you add, so the result of Jurassic Park was the result of selfishness and greed, which is a brand of evil. But then Ted Levine shooting Chris Pratt with the dinosaur trank so that he either gets killed by the trank or then is killed by a dinosaur
or the lava.
That's straight up fucking evil. The idea of just leaving human beings on that island to die, evil. The idea of just everybody thinks they're dead anyway, so we're probably just gonna leave them here to starve or kill them later. Just straight up evil. And not that straight up evil does not exist. We know that it does, but it's less interesting in a movie.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I just don't think it's on brand. I just don't think it's on message. So that's my ugly.
All right, Brad, you're ugly.
My ugly was realizing that I enjoyed Jurassic World way more than this.
Wow, really?
I rewatched that earlier in the week, and it's got its problems. I think Colin Trevorrow could shoot a dinosaur action sequence a hell of a lot better than J.A. Bayona does in this movie.
Dang.
And the scene in Jurassic World where the poor personal assistant gets picked up by the pterodactyls. That scene is so comically terrifying. Yeah. I love it now.
Jeez.
And the ugly is how much I enjoyed watching that poor woman get lifted, dropped, lifted, then dropped into the pool to get lifted out once again to have that Mosasaurus come in and chomp her and the pterodactyl for lunch.
Damn, baby.
That is savage.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy Buffett's running by with his margaritas. So turns out I like Jurassic World more than I thought I did.
Jesus. All right. My ugly for this film is your Letterboxd score. Oh man, I see. I did not realize you disliked this movie that much.
It's not my least favorite film I've seen this year, but we didn't do a review of Action Point.
God damn. All right.
Thankfully. But I guess the big question is, are we going to get this deep exploration in the Meg?
I hope so.
But I don't. I would be shocked if I loved the Meg. But not every blockbuster is on the same tier, right?
Yeah, true.
So what I'm going for the Meg is not necessarily what I'm going or hoping to get out of Jurassic World. And the only reason I feel that way is because I just watched Jurassic Park and it's a damn masterpiece.
Exactly.
And that's high popcorn art. And this franchise has struggled to even scratch the surface. Spielberg himself couldn't touch what he did in that first film.
That's a conversation for another day. I like Lost World. I don't know what. Maybe I need to go back and rewatch it. I don't know what
it has moments in it that are good.
Okay, because a lot of people really
I don't like it. I mean, I really don't like it. Okay. I just watched that and Jurassic Park 3. I think the characterization is really weak in that. Although
Lost World?
Compared to this, it's much better. All the Vince Vaughn stuff I really don't like, and the InGen evil corporation stuff I really don't like. Okay. And Goldblum's just not Ian Malcolm in that film for me.
from the first one.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch it. I just remember enjoying that film.
It's got amazing set pieces in it.
Yeah.
I think why I enjoyed this most recent Lost World better than you, Brad, is what you just said. Like, as far as the comparing the Meg to the Jurassic Park film, them being different tiers or whatever, and what you was expecting based on Jurassic Park's history and pedigree of the first film. I went in with the expectation of the same type of expectation that I'm hoping from the Meg. Like with the Meg, I just want, if the Meg is just what is in the trailer, I'd be fine with that. And so I went in with that. I didn't go back and rewatch the original Jurassic Park, so I wasn't put in that mind space of, okay, this is what a good dinosaur movie could be.
I haven't seen the Meg, but I feel like if I'm just going into Jurassic World to watch dinosaurs eat people, it fails on that level.
Yeah.
I don't think the action sequences or the horror elements succeed.
Because since the first Jurassic Park, I like the second one. Because the third one and then Lost World were what they were, and even the second one to a lesser degree, for me, I'm not even expecting a great Jurassic Park film anymore. I just feel like the Hollywood at this point, the suits and everyone else are not willing to do, in my estimation, what needs to be done to give me a good Jurassic Park film. So I'm just expecting, I went into this one expecting exactly what I got from the first Lost World film. And that's why I said, well, I enjoyed it better than the first one, because I wasn't expecting anything better. I wasn't expecting the first one or the Lost.
I go with David Ehrlich's Letterboxd review that says Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom makes Jurassic World look like Jurassic Park.
I did see that. Yeah, that was...
I think Jurassic World's way better than this.
Here's what makes Jurassic World better. The fact that there was a plot. Like there was a conflict of conscience with the focus of the show, of the movie. Like Bryce Dallas Howard by the end of that movie is a different person. She's changed. Like where with this movie, everybody we hung out with is exactly the same person at the end. They're like, we were trying to do something good and we were thwarted. Like that's not a great movie.
Yeah. I just felt like this movie was just the movie that has to happen to give us the next movie when the dinosaurs are running around friggin' New York and Washington, D.C.
That's what it feels like. It's really just a movie to get us to what they really want to show us.
Which, like Brad said, should have happened a long time ago. It should have happened after the second one, maybe. Actually, it should have happened with the second one. Because if I'm not mistaken, that's the one when the T-Rex... So, yeah.
I think it could have just as easily done it. Started the movie with exactly the same start. We got to get the dinosaurs off this island. Then you get them in like a big boat or a plane or something. Like, oh no, we dropped them.
Whoops.
Oh my God, whoops.
Turn around, go back.
Or even, oh my God, if even like they were moving them and some like animal activists came in Okja style and just set it loose.
Honestly, there's a whole film of just the Mosasaurus escaping at the beginning of this movie.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much foreshadows
becoming the Meg.
Yeah. Which is an awesome shot. That surf shot.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you've seen Jurassic Park, Lost World, Fallen Kingdom, hit us up on social media and let us know your thoughts on the film. But before we get out of here, we have some people who responded to us. Brad, you put it out on social media. You know, what would the listeners like to see from a Jurassic Park Lost World sequel?
Yeah.
And we got some feedback.
Oh, we sure did. On our Facebook page, Aaron Crownover, I think we're like very like-minded individuals. He just says, babies being snatched from their cribs by velociraptors.
Dear Lord.
That's all he wants. And, I get it.
All right.
Let's go terror.
Jeez. All right.
And I think plenty of babies are going to get eaten. Shara Valentine on our Facebook page.
Yay.
More Jeff Goldblum, please.
Always.
Yeah, I definitely think that's...
That's with any movie, though. That's not even with Lost World.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Keith Shiflett, he says, more focus on the dinosaurs and way less on the humans, to Darren's point.
Yeah.
Rick Humphreys on Facebook says he wanted a character getting the fate that he did in the book. I had to push him on that. I was like, what character are you talking about? And he's referring to Henry Wu in Michael Crichton's novel as an unpleasant end, similar to what he has in Jurassic World, but maybe not as or Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, but not as savage.
He dies in this one.
Yeah, doesn't he get killed by that Endoraptor?
BD Wong?
Yeah.
No, he's still kicking around.
Several people
He's got more
disappeared.
movies to make.
Who got eaten by the Endo? Oh, Ted Levine got eaten by the Endo. Yeah, Ted Levine had his arm bitten off. Yeah.
That was fun. We hadn't really seen like a straight up limb.
CG arm get like
that's
pop
fun.
off. Okay,
I like that.
And then on Twitter at Sinbad27, but it's SYN bad 27, says wants more effective hand weapons that actually work as opposed to just pissing it off. The creatures pissing the creatures off. I guess.
Harpoons.
Yeah, harpoons.
Nice.
And then at Hearn_V says dinosaurs in the Grand Canyon, including the Painted Desert, where you can walk in their footsteps today, outside of Cameron and Tuba City in Arizona. Yeah. That's probably going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yep. Our old buddy, the Omega Dork on Twitter, says he wants post-dino apocalypse.
All right, Matt, I just high-fived you from across the world.
He wants 30 years on, the whole world is crawling with mutant dinosaurs, humanity just survives in the shadows.
George Miller's directing that one too?
And he wants, of course, human-dinosaur hybrids.
Nice.
Then our buddy Matt Herms on Twitter says, at this point, they really should just go full Planet of the Apes, but with dinosaurs.
Yes, please.
Although Andrew Neil Johnson on Facebook says, without the theme park aspect of the movies, they veer off course. He says the theme park is necessary.
But how who would go buy? You know, I'm going to answer. I know the answer to this question. I was going to say who would buy a ticket to Jurassic Park after all this crazy shit that has happened. But you know what? There are some people out here who would go to Jurassic Park even after they rebranded and reopened the.
They're gonna do it like the most dangerous game where you can go and just shoot them.
Yeah. Go hunting.
It would be interesting. Yeah, I'm thinking bring back the original cast, and since Sam Neill and Goldblum has worked with him before, have it directed by Taika.
Ooh, that would be
Hunt for the Jurassic people.
There you go. Bring Laura Dern, bring them all back, directed by Taika Waititi. There you go.
Yeah.
That's what I want to
say. Way back when John Sayles had a script for Jurassic Park 4 that involved Dino Men. It involved a raptor man.
I think I heard about that.
You can go online and see production art. You know,
when they were talking in this film, when they were talking about, well, it's obvious, like, you know, the weaponization of such a scientific discovery. That's what I thought they were going. I was like, oh shit, are they doing it in this movie? Because I know,
and that's the leap from Alien to Aliens we need. Raptor Men.
Okay, yeah,
with a Jeff Goldblum clone army.
But can we get that like in a post-apocalyptic setting, please?
It's Jurassic Park, Fury Road.
Yes, thank you.
All right, it's not 30 years; it's 100 years.
Okay,
all right. Dinosaurs and Dino Men are running rampant, and there's a clone army, and they're all bred from Jeff Goldblum's. Yes. And I think it'd be a lot of fun.
I love the image of seeing war boys trying to take down a friggin' T-Rex.
Yeah, but they've all got Goldblum face.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! I need that movie.
Some of them have tamed T-Rexes, and they're riding them,
and they're playing drums on his back. The Doof Warrior is riding a T-Rex. Holy shit! I need that.
But I don't think any of that's going to happen.
God damn it, B.
There's only like 11, so there's 11 species, but they're not like 2 by 2. This isn't Noah's Ark.
Right.
So, like if there's any...
I think there's only one raptor, right? Is like Blue the only surviving raptor?
Blue's going to be the last one. Can they inbreed? I don't know. But anyway, there's only like 11 of them. So they're going to slowly get stupider. They're slowly going to get domesticated and get smaller.
Well, some did get sold and taken to their respective countries. They're going to do what the one guy was fearing, that he was fearing that other countries would get it and then reproduce. So they're going to happen. So they're going to make clones of their purchases.
We can hope. Dare to dream.
Life finds a way.
Oh yeah. That.
And BD Wong is still around. And didn't they still get away with that briefcase that has the DNA of the? So yeah, they can still reproduce them.
So we're gonna get alien.
They're gonna make dinosaurs like, it would be really cool, like good at killing all of these dinosaurs. A super dinosaur.
Yeah.
Dinosaur men.
It's like there was an old lady who swallowed a fly, but it's dinosaurs.
Oh no. All right. So thank you all. everyone who chimed in on our Facebook page. Thank you for doing that. That's what it's there for. We like to talk to our listeners. In the meantime, Brian, you can be found at the Turtle Dork on Twitter, at the Turtle Dork 1 on Instagram, and at Brian William Young on Facebook. What are you looking forward to this week?
Oh, goodness. A couple films. Sicario, Day of the Soldado, one of my most anticipated movies of the summer and of the year. And I'm also actually looking forward to Uncle Drew.
That's this week?
Yes, this week, too.
Okay.
So,
see, Lisa?
What?
Uncle Drew. Brian's also excited about it.
I mean, it's a basketball film. It's got some of my favorite athletes, and it looks like it could be stupid fun. It looks like it could be funny. So,
Shaq looks great.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the old man makeup looks terrible, but I think that's part of it. But I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Wife Dork. She can be found at Baked Dork and at Sidewalk Siren on Twitter and Instagram. She is also at Sidewalk Siren on Letterboxd. And what are you looking forward to?
There's some movies I still haven't caught up on.
Yep.
I still haven't seen First Reformed. I'm sorry, Brad.
I think it's gonna be difficult now.
No. I still haven't seen Hotel Artemis.
Oh.
Talking with Darren before the show, maybe Heart Beats Loud is not an essential.
It is VF.
That's
free.
good.
It's VF.
VF.
VF is
it's
good.
VF. Uh-huh.
VF is a good one. So yeah.
We're gonna go rewatch Superfly.
And American Honey is in Heartbeat Loud.
Oh, fun.
She's the girl that Kirstie Clemens is crushing on.
Wonderful. So my tiramisu article is finally up. It is excruciatingly long.
I don't want to read that one.
It's so long. I'm so
sad.
I'm so sorry, Darren. So that's up. And then if you follow me, I'm going to have a new review dropping on After Movie Diner very soon. Vidar the Vampire. You should really read the review before you try to watch it. Just be warned.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. B. All right. That
Superfly was awful.
Yeah.
Superfly was just straight up a bad movie. Though that guy's very handsome. Okay,
nice
that's
hair.
it.
All right. B. He can be found at MouthDork on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Letterboxd, and Untapped. And what are you looking forward to this week?
I am looking forward to watching more Jim Kelly. Aaron and I are Rest in Pictures podcast. Jim Kelly was only in 16 movies. I've watched almost all of them at this point.
Yeah.
So that's been a lot of fun going through that. And like I said earlier, I was on the Missing Frames podcast with Sean, talking My Neighbor Totoro. That was a really good conversation. It was great to finally watch that movie, and I didn't hate it.
Yay.
So yay. Anime win for Brad.
Yes.
And then not this week, but next week, we should be having Larry Cohen on the ItModcast, by the way.
Wait, what?
Yeah, this just happened.
What?
Yeah. We got to talk.
Brian, are you awoke? You hear what he just said?
Larry Cohen?
Larry Cohen.
Motherfucker.
The director of Q, the Winged Serpent. Hell Up in Harlem, Black Caesar. The Stuff, It's Alive.
Okay.
Original Gangsters.
Ew.
So, yeah, he's going to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Brian,
it's amazing.
Fucking Larry Cohen's going to be on the podcast.
It's awesome.
God damn
that
it,
is
Brian.
his excited
I think
face.
we need to give Brian some homework, some Larry Cohen homework.
Yeah.
And that would probably be The Stuff.
Yep.
Hell Up in Harlem.
Yep.
And Q, the Winged Serpent.
Yep.
I think that's probably would be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A good place to start.
I don't watch as many movies as you guys.
That's okay. We're going to fix that.
Sorry.
We're going to fix that.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's crazy.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yes, you did. You got to mention that. All right. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I can be found at the Disco Dork on all social medias. Very much looking forward to Sicario, Day of the Soldado. These positive reviews that have been coming out are bringing me joy. And so they're relieving some much understandable fear and trepidation I had with this film, being that Denis Villeneuve is not directing. And Deakins is not returning. But from what everyone's saying, Josh Brolin and my man Benicio del Toro are holding it down. And really, that's what I'm looking forward to. So, yeah, that's going to do it for us. We got a fistful of...
Soldados.
Is that... We got a fistful of soldados? Is that what we're doing?
Day of Soldados?
Because you know what soldado is, right?
Soldado is solo...
No,
Soldato's a hitman.
Yeah.
Oh.
So let's just do a fistful of days then.
All right, so we got a fistful of days coming up, ladies and gentlemen. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week. And until next time.